Before we begin, I'm required to provide a disclosure that the information that we present today is a result of our experiences and that the views discussed are our own and don't necessarily represent the views of NSF OIG or the federal government. This is a diagram of our investigative process. We're going to start with allegations. So that's really how all of our cases start. Sometimes cases start from proactive reviews, but oftentimes it's from allegations. And we receive numerous allegations from a variety of different sources throughout the course of the year. And all investigations that are open must fall into a specific violation of law, rule, regulation, policy, award condition, just to name a few, in order for us to have jurisdiction to investigate. So it has to fall under one of those items in order for us to have jurisdiction. Many of the allegations that we do investigate relate in some way to fraud through false statements on grant applications, reports or certifications throughout the life cycle of an award, or theft of funds. So for example, taking NSF grant money and using it for something that's unrelated to the grant. A lot of our investigations also cover misconduct, plagiarism, or falsification of data, as well as conflict of interests. And so these allegations really come from a variety of different sources. They can come from PIs, from co-PIs that actually work on the grant and that have firsthand knowledge of the issue at hand. We also get a lot of allegations from program officers or other NSF employees. We get them from OIG audits or other government agencies if they refer those to our office when they know that it has something to do with NSF. We also see allegations coming from grad students or panelists on NSF panels, university administrators, or anonymously via our online hotline, where people can type in their anonymous allegations. So as for the investigative process, so once an allegation is actually received, it's reviewed by our office to determine whether or not we actually have jurisdiction to investigate. And if they determine that we have jurisdiction to investigate, they dive a little bit deeper into what exactly are the issues at play. And then from there, we objectively, once it's assigned as a case, the agents, attorneys, or scientists or objectively gather facts. And one of the things we like to always let people know is that we in investigations are objective fact finders. We're not the decision makers. We want to make sure that we have everything and all information related to those allegations so that we can move the case to a logical resolution. And what does that look like? It's sending IG subpoenas. We do a lot of interviews. We talk to the program officer. We talk to anyone that might be involved. We review financial data. It really is dependent on the allegation what the steps look like, but we do objectively gather all facts and we document the findings in reports. And when it's appropriate, I should say, we work with the Department of Justice to bring the case to a logical conclusion. Not always do we work with DOJ, but that does sometimes occur. And I should also say that during some of our cases, we notice that it's an issue that's better looked at by, say, Office of Audits. So at sometimes we would pass along the allegation or transfer that to the Office of Audits if it would be better suited, reviewed by that office. Other times we'll notice that other agencies are involved. So during our investigation, we will either bring an agency to work the case jointly, or we would refer that to them if it's better worked by another office. So a lot of questions that we often get are about what is going to happen with the case. And the answer is always it depends, because there are so many investigative outcomes that are all case dependent and fact dependent. And as I mentioned at the last slide, we're objective fact finders. So we don't often know, or we can't say what's ultimately going to happen because we just find the facts and then, make referrals as the case goes along. So as it relates to administrative matters, some possible outcomes is that we may make a recommendation to NSF, such as an award termination or suspension, if it's warranted. We also may make a recommendation to the National Science Foundation of a government-wide suspension or debarment should an individual, or in some cases, a company, not be presently responsible with the funds. We also make reprimands and retractions if it's found that plagiarism occurred. As it relates to cases that involve violations of criminal or civil matters, we may at that point refer it to the Department of Justice for criminal or civil action if the facts lead in that direction. So if it goes the criminal or civil route, there's a variety of different ways that the case can play out, but it could result in a settlement agreement or a compliance plan. It could result in fines, reimbursement of funds to the agency, and in some cases, incarceration. We also, as I mentioned, refer to the Office of Audits, or sometimes we even close it without further action, should the investigation be unfounded. If an allegation doesn't rise to the level of administrative, criminal, or civil action, we do also sometimes issue what's called a questionable practice letter. I think bottom line, as it results to the outcome, our goal is to find the facts. And if the facts don't support the allegation, it's just as important for us to close an allegation that isn't supported.